All right, hello and welcome to another Microvellum live session where we focus on tips, tricks, and discussions about our software, tools, and technology, and today hardware that will help you streamline the way you work. Today we've lined up a discussion about hardware with a special focus on an expansion for a new product line from Hettich that is now available for your product libraries within Toolbox. We're going to have an opportunity to learn about Hettich's new AvanTech YOU hardware and review some of the mechanics and the use cases for their new platform. And we'll show you how it works within the 50.5 product library in Toolbox. And as a bonus, we're even going to get into a sneak peek at how the hardware has been integrated within the new product library that is currently in development. All right, so let's get into it. What is an expansion, first of all? If you're a Microvellum user already, then you know that your product library is completely customizable. You can create your own products, you can add hardware, which we're going to show you how that works today. And you can even bolt on or expand your capabilities with data that's been pre-configured and tested through our integration and certification program. And that's what we've recently completed with Hettich. We started a project where we created an expansion for their new AvanTech YOU platform. So let's introduce a few people that will be helping us today with our live session. And so joining us from our product library team here at Microvellum, we have invited Lenny Sienna. And from Hettich America, we have Waylon Beavers. Thank you both for being here today.
Hello, hello, hello. Glad
Hey there, thanks for having us.
All right, Waylon, let's start with you. What's your role, first of all? What's your role over there at Hettich America? And maybe you can give us some background about Hettich for those who are unfamiliar with the brand.
Yeah, sure. I'll start off with the fact that Hettich in general been around since 1888. It's privately held by the Hettich family. And we have various production facilities throughout the world here, one including here in Hettich America. And we produce a few different product lines. One is called a full access quadro for furniture applications. Grant, which is a sliding and folding doors for kind of like room dividers. And then also we have a what we call a KA3320, which is a side-mounted ball bearing slide. It's your heavy duty slides. If you think of applications like in a utility vehicle or somewhere where basically you're needing to hold a lot of weight up to 500 pounds. And so that's what we are producing here in the market. And in my role here at Hettich America is the product manager. And so as a product manager, I am responsible for figuring out which products we need to bring into the marketplace. Obviously, a lot of our production is coming from Germany, and so they rely on the information from us to make sure they're bringing the right products to the market as well. And so with that, I just, one of the products here is the AvanTech YOU, giving them information about this product in order to best serve the market.
That's awesome. Thanks for that background. So what can you tell us about the AvanTech YOU platform? When was it launched and what's it about?
Yeah, so this right here, it's something new to the market, and we first introduced it at Interzoom, which is held in Cologne in 2019. It was met with great anticipation, meaning that there was a lot of folks it drew a lot of interest. Very unique in the sense of kind of what we're talking about a little bit with the platform concept. But there's a lot of different things about this product that we'll get into more. But the fact is that there was a lot of hype around it, and a lot of people were pleased when they first saw it there at Interzoom.
Right. So what would you say that's something that separates this maybe from even other drawer systems that you've had in the past?
So this is, I would say, definitely something that is looking at the trend, what's happening in the marketplace. It's one of those things that we took into consideration of really being customer centric, rather than just here's a product to the marketplace, here you go. We took the time to really look at what's needed in the market from not just our direct customers, but even the end consumer. What are the things that you would like? And so some of the things that brought about is the fact of individualization, so customization, if you would, for the product, and that's what really kind of went into it. That stands apart from our other products today, and the fact that this is also a slim drawer system. It's a 13mm profile as compared to our other thicker double wall drawer systems. So this is something, again, kind of moving along with the market trends.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely understand that from a software side. We see that all the time, and I can definitely see how that relates into the hardware as well. Um, so what are some of the components that make up that AvanTech YOU platform? You mentioned, I think before, the Actro YOU and the Quadro YOU. You know, what are some of the pros and cons? What's it about?
Yeah, so kind of bouncing off the whole platform idea is that there's Actro YOU, the Quadro YOU, and those are different levels of load capacity. And you kind of think of it as small, medium, large, I guess, in the sense that the Quadro holds 30 kilograms, and our Actros hold 40 and 70, respectively. And so with those products, it kind of lends in the sense of the different levels that you're needing or for your furniture and when you're doing the customization. The Actro YOU has a little bit more when it comes to synchronization. It has basically a built-in synchronization within the slide. But still, going back to the Quadro, it's a proven slide that's been around for Hettich for quite some time now, and it's a very reliable, robust slide as well. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking at the profiles themselves, as you can see here, there's an array of products. There's 5 different size heights, 3 different standard core colors. There's the design profiles as well, which are the small, slender, colored, or even you could make your own color essentially, where you could paint those profiles, and they are easily snapped in. And so those are some of the different kind of components, again, kind of leading back to the whole individualization and customization of this product. And then also you have what we call our design capes. That's where it really starts to come into that whole customization, because with those design capes, a customer could say, I want purple drawers. They can utilize those drawer capes, and that way they can bring that realization to that customer. And also the fact that the good part about it too is that you will not see any kind of cover caps or screws or anything of that nature when it comes to this particular profile. Whereas, again, kind of going back to what's different from previous drawer systems, this one here, there is nothing visible to the eye. We try to keep it as clean, simple, as simplistic as possible. And then here, kind of leaning towards the fact of when we're talking about, nothing visible, well, luckily the adjustments are within the side profiles themselves. So that's where you can utilize, where you can make your adjustments, whether it's height, side to side, or tilt. And we do offer an optional depth adjustment as well. So there's various ways in order to make your adjustments depending on what kind of application you have, whether it be inset or directly on the frame.
Right. So would you say that this product line is suitable for one particular market, or is this for residential, commercial, office? How far does this reach?
Oh, it definitely, we are concentrated more in the kitchen and bath, but this definitely doesn't limit it there. This is something that goes across the board, whether it's in academia, healthcare, various institutions. And actually, one of the biggest things I would promote is the fact that especially within healthcare, due to the COVID-19, we offer a push to open, and it's also a silent system. So basically, it's a handleless option where essentially not using your hands and being able to open it, say with your knee, elbow, whatever the case may be, in order to get the drawer open. And then you can then close it back again without using your hands necessarily, and it'll soft close for you as well. So that's where it kind of stands apart on that. And then one of the other things I wanted to talk about too is about why it's the platform. I may have missed out on that part. With the slides themselves, the great part about this system is the fact that not only is it for our AvanTech YOU system, but you can also use it on wooden drawer boxes. So that's where the kind of that platform modularity kind of idea really came into play. And it really helps out from a production standpoint, and even warehouse purchasing, where they'll be able to purchase that one slide for whether they do wooden drawer boxes or the metal drawer box system, or maybe they'll have a mix. That's one of the things that we got some feedback from a trade show. Customers were thinking, hey, I can use a pot and pan drawer as a standard metal drawer box, and then my uppers could be the wooden drawer boxes. So it has that element to where you can customize and change if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for the clarification on the platform, and basically for the background too on this AvanTech YOU system. And speaking of the customization, I think it's now a good segue perhaps into kind of seeing what it looks like within the product library, inviting Lenny up. But definitely thank you for that background. And yeah, so Lenny, you ready to get into the demonstration?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking how when Waylon mentioned how it's so customizable, and that really does lend its, well, that's one of the things I love about working with the library data is it, it's so customizable as well, so when we went to add this, we started looking into adding this, it's not just like a copy paste, or an import where it's just there it is, we now have the drawers. We blended it in to parametric subassembly, which is what I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody today.
Yeah, so before you get into that demonstration, what went into the development of this? How involved was Hettich? In the beginning, we mentioned the expansion pack and the integration program that we have. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can talk just for a few minutes about what went into this whole process here.
Yeah, we worked as kind of an international effort. I worked with Hettich individuals from Germany, from India, from North America here, and the new library data that we're pioneering, we're keeping international in mind, so we can specify what countries, different pieces of hardware are available in. But yeah, so they provided us with all of the 3D graphics, and they were willing to also work with us to because sometimes the graphics, they have to be rotated or oriented in a specific way, and so they were willing to help us work with that. Because the way Microvellum, uses the graphic block, for example, the slide, you have to have a left-hand drawing and a right-hand drawing, right? And so you can't have one drawing that has the pair, because then it won't be parametric. So they helped with that, and they also had a whole database of articles, as they call them there, all the list of the different components and pieces, and we were able to kind of take a look at what are some of the more popular ones, because Hettich offers a huge. I think I still have a catalog from Hettich here from years ago. It's rather large, so obviously we can't bite off the whole book, but we wanted to focus on this new product line here that they were really excited about. So we kind of focused in on that. We did add a few other slides as well. At some point I may show you, but so yeah.
Okay. Great, thanks for that background on that. So let's get into the demonstration and see how this works within Toolbox.
Okay, so yeah, like Clay mentioned, there is a new library that's being developed, and actually this right here. I was trying to decide which to show. This is a lot of our customers here in North America have this library. It's the version 50 library, and so I was debating on what the principles are pretty much the same. The sub-assemblies are slightly different. We did develop it in this environment, but not very many people have the new library, obviously, because it hasn't been released yet. So we wanted to make it available for all of our existing clients, and so we went and took that sub-assembly and made a few changes in there to make it work for existing clients, and so that's what we have here. But yeah, I wanted to review what the process was to get this in here. So I kind of thought about this. I broke it down to 4 different steps. So the first step is we got to get these articles, as they call them, into the Microvellum database. So we kind of went through the thousands of SKUs that they have, and like I said, determine which ones we want to assimilate. And so if you have a look in here, so this is our, call it a material file, which is basically our database. It's a portal into what we have in our database. So like if we just organize them, this is all totally user definable. And so like you have slides and systems. So if I go into the Hettich here, we added a whole section here for, we have connectors, we have those design capes that Waylon was talking about of designer profiles, the actual sides themselves. We have the different sides, okay, and more end caps, rear panels, stabilizers, you know, a lot of pieces of hardware. Some of these things we added in individually. We do have a spreadsheet import utility, so we were, you know, because some of these become, you know, to add these in one by one would be a little bit, it wouldn't be very fun. But so we have a automatic import that basically sucks it in from a spreadsheet and gets them in here. And then we have tools like, you know, you can, for example, highlight a whole bunch of them and edit a bunch of materials all at once, which I've done, especially when I was adding some estimate costs and labor values and different things, you can enhance the item. But if you look at each one of these here, you know, we have that, I just put in some figures so that it'll populate correctly. We have a costing report. So I wanted to put some labor value. So labor value is basically, you know, how many minutes do you think of labor it's going to take to assemble each one of these components? And so you can really dial that in to get an accurate costing report. So that was kind of the first step, get it in the database, okay? Of course, it doesn't do anything unless your products look at them or pull from this data, right? I think that, yeah, so, before I leave this area, so we have the drawer systems. Waylon mentioned, you know, these can also be used, these runners, you know, I was trying to decide where I should put them, but they are technically runners. So I lumped them with all the other runners that we have in here, or slides. I think overseas they call them runners more. I think in America, a lot of us, we call them slides. I don't know, it's how you grew up.
Yeah, concealed slides. Yeah, here. Yeah, in Europe, they probably call them runners.
Yeah, it's funny. I work with, we have some Microvellum technicians over in Australia, and we always go back and forth with how you spell color and different terminology. It's funny. So we call them runners.
Hey, Lenny.
Yes.
I think you might want to switch your screens. We're seeing your other screen, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. You got two versions of Toolbox open, and I think we're seeing the other one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me, I
didn't catch that at first, and then, yeah.
Let me go to stop the share. Okay, so can you see my material file now?
Hey, that looks a lot better.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was in here drilling into here. So yeah, I was showing you the different areas, and here's in the estimate price, the labor value, and here's how they're all organized with the different connectors, designers, and caps. And I was just going to get into the runners or slides. We've got the Actro 5D, the Actro YOU. These are all in here now as well, along with a whole bunch of other, there's a lot of data in here we were sucking in. There were some in here that had been in here for many years, and so we went through them and updated them, corrected them, got them up, make sure they were, you know, correct. So yeah, so that was step one, getting them into this database, all right? And the way I got to that was in here through the material file. The next step was the actual, what we call in Microvellum a sub-assembly. So Microvellum is product-based, okay? So like this is 3 products. You have a corner unit, a tall unit, and then a drawer bank unit. So each one of those is, if you will, its own little spreadsheet. But a sub-assembly is a product within a product. And so that's how we're able to build a single sub-assembly, and then we just put that sub-assembly wherever we want a drawer. And so like if you look into this 3-drawer cabinet here, and you go to the AvanTech YOU, so here's the cut parts, okay? but then we have what's called a subassembly. So if I just take a look at this AvanTech YOU subassembly, we have all the parts that are involved, right? A left side, right side, front, back, bottom, different parts. And then of course there's the hardware that goes along with it. So we just developed this. This is also where, you know, we can put a machine token, right? So wherever the slide touches an adjacent part, it'll put the drilling. Maybe a better way to see that, to demonstrate the subassembly would be this. This is the same data, it's just a better way of probably looking at it. So if you look at our AvanTech here, I'm going to load that. Look at a side. The side has a token here, okay? So you can specify all this data, and this data is getting pulled from what we call a lookup table. So this is how we can specify the, you know, the diameter of the holes and the locations of the holes, and there's a lot of stuff. So we had to get that all sorted. Oh, I forgot to show you the most important part. So in here, we have a lookup table. So this is how we're making things international. So, you know, maybe in Australia, they have different availability than the US. And so we can, the new data that's coming out, we're making it region specific if we need to, because this has happened even between US and Canada. Sometimes there's differences, and so we can dial it in. But basically, here's where you got all your different runner lengths, the different hole locations. It's all using these tables, okay? So that was step 2. So we had to create this subassembly. The next thing that we had to do was these blocks, all right? So each one of these blocks, it's an AutoCAD, separate AutoCAD DWG. So if I browse to my factory data, which opens up over here, and I can drill into my graphics, hardware. So we've organized this by, we have like a Hettich AvanTech YOU. And so see all these AutoCAD drawings here, okay? So these all need to be verified. So we've gotten these from Hettich. We had to make sure they were named consistently to match existing data in Microvellum. So we had to make a left and a right. We also put data in here where, for scaling, right? Because we have some users that are metric, and some users primarily in America are imperial scaling, okay? And so we put data in there. Maybe I should just show you one real quick. So like here's an example. So if you go up to, let's see, the properties. So we put this custom property. If Microvellum sees that, it'll scale it appropriately. So it works out great. So I don't have to basically maintain 2 sets of data, because in years ago we had to do that. We had a whole, 1,000, here's 1,000 drawings that are scaled imperial. And then I had to make another 1,000 drawings that were scaled in metric. And it was kind of a burden. And so that's how the library data is getting smarter now. Okay, so that was step 3, was AutoCAD blocks. And the last step was, well, a lot of testing. I haven't even shown you. Let's prompt this thing. So the way Microvellum works is product prompts. First, I'm going to prompt the cabinet. Okay. So this is it's basically a 3-drawer base. It's going to be a little bit different because this isn't the 50 library, but it's primarily the same width, height, depth. You can specify all these different things. Here's the different drawer. So we've selected the AvanTech. So this is options for the overall cabinet, okay? But if you wanted to drill in, well, I want to look at what are my options for that drawer. So I have a shortcut to here. It's called SubAssembly prompts. And so even the SubAssembly has prompts. And so here's where we can, there's formulas that automatically figure out the height, right? So it kind of knows what the available space is, and then it tries to fill them what the appropriate height would be to avoid collisions, right, as the cabinet gets taller and shorter. But you can come in here and just stomp it on, oh, actually I want this to be whatever. Same with the length. It's trying to come up with the best length, but you can even specify, well, how much space do you want behind the drawers, and then it'll automatically select the length, or you can just hard lock it. What type of fixing brackets do you want? The different weights. If you got something heavy, you can just make that one drawer 70 kilogram or whatever. And then here's the dynamic attributes of it, where you can even swap out different runners, different design profiles. Now, obviously, this is just one drawer. If you have a kitchen full of 20 drawers, obviously you don't have to go through and do this 20 times. There is a place to do it at the project level. I'm just showing you how, the different options, different colors, fixing bracket. You can say, do you want stabilizers? Do you want a rear cutout? Maybe there's something, there's a notch behind for a sink. Inner drawer is like a rollout, I guess you could say. Maybe a drawer behind another drawer or a door. A lot of stuff. So as you can imagine, this took, a little bit of work to develop and test and, make sure it's working appropriately. So, oh yeah, if you want a little more information, see, I think I have it here. Yeah, so on our knowledge base, there is a lot of the stuff I just showed you is for reference here of what, we're trying to really make an emphasis here of documenting as much as we can what we do, and to help you guys out as customers of Microvellum or users. Here's like what is in this package, if you will, because we took all this new Hettich and basically put it in a download down here. You can click here and download it. And so we want to tell you, well, what are you getting? So all the stuff I just showed you in the prompts are listed out here, different runners. Here's some screenshots. We have like, there's steel at the back, or if you want to cut yourself, you cut your own parts, cut the length. Different side options. Let's see here. Here's the inlay. Here's like if you had like a sink or some obstruction in your cabinet, you can specify a rear cutout, which is pretty cool. There's a designer profile or a design cape or cap.
A designer profile, you're right. And then then right below is the designer cape.
Cape, yes. And then here's some other runners, like I mentioned, that besides the AvanTech YOU, a lot of these are in here, and we're always adding more. And if the runner that you want is not in here, you can, there are videos to help you learn how to do it, or you can have it done for you. We have services to help out with that. But, I don't want to forget, for even more detail on how to get this, we went ahead and made a video for everybody. It shows how basically you download it, and we have a utility, which looks like this, where you specify, where you want to import from, and it'll present to you like all the hardware, all the graphics, an additional subassembly, and that is like 95% of the work is done right here, just automatically. For the 50 library, there's a little bit more work, excuse me, because you have to, let's take a look at that. So here's the 50 library, which most of our customers over here have in North America. There's a little bit more work because you have to go into the global. Actually, this won't show it very well. We put those tables instead of in the subassembly. This is kind of the old-fashioned way of doing it, but here's these lookup tables, and so you have to add the data in here. See all that? So we had to insert, and then we have some tables down here. So see how it says Actro U. So it's in the global, and we can't just update your global because that would update a lot of other things. And so what we found, and so what we're doing in new libraries is instead of putting this in the global variable, we're putting it in that subassembly, so which makes it a lot easier to update people's existing data. But anyway, so that's how the version 50 works, which again is spelled out here in this video. Okay, so check my notes here. I showed you the prompts. Oh, let's look at the cost report. I think it's kind of cool. Which library should we do? Let's do this one here. Create a work order. So I'm just going to process these products here. And hit process. And so this is where we takes all that spreadsheet data, crunches it into a database. And so then we can run a report. And we've, in the last few years, if you haven't seen this yet, I think we talked about it last year, but it's a pretty extensive work has gone into this report where it takes, well, let's just have a look at it. So here's all my parts. I don't even need to process anything. It's immediate, it's ready. I'm just gonna go to my print report, go to my MV cost report. That just shows everything. And here's where we take that labor and estimate price, you know, and so like we have $273 of sheet goods, edge banding. So here it breaks out. We have 96 dowels. We've been counting the dowels, which is funny. So here we go. Yeah, so there's the slides, how many pairs, and it gives you a total hardware. I don't quote me on the accuracy of some of these. They are just an estimate, and depending on where you live, and I don't have the exact costs for each of these, but you know, it gives you an idea of how this report works. Down here we have what's the labor. So you know, we're saying it knows, you know, how many pairs of slides it needs to be assembled, etc. Even knows how many shelf clips to have to be added. You know, it's all labor, and it gives you a total. So it's pretty cool reporting that you can do with this report. Just wanted to touch base on that real quick since I mentioned it earlier. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess I already mentioned that. So, you know, for the Australia market, they have a different library. They, I believe, have it in their newest version. So this import export here that I showed you would not be for the Australian market if you happen to be over there. Sorry, guys. You'll have to talk to your account manager if you have questions about that. But North America market, this should work in any version 40, whatever version library, or 50. You can get that in there. Did I miss anything, Clay? How's that sound? Is that looking good?
No, I think you got it. I got it all. I just had
any questions? Yeah, any questions that we've gotten so far?
Yeah, there was a question there from Vince. I answered that one. It was related to, you know, why we chose Hettich. And I think that was kind of an emphasis on our integration program. Hettich is just one of the many ones that we've worked on recently. We've had others with Grass, and so this presentation today is just meant to highlight this project that we did and how this new data works within the Toolbox.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, yep, got that one. Let's see. And there was another follow-up question I had for Wayland. In the beginning, you mentioned that this AvanTech YOU was debuted last year. But when is this platform going to be available here in North America?
Great question. It'll be available coming late September. Right now, it is available in Europe, so they're seeing great success coming out of there. One of the things I did want to point out with this system, the AvanTech YOU itself, it requires no catches to be installed. The only time you're going to need the catches is for when you're utilizing wooden drawer boxes. So just to kind of keep in frame of mind for when it comes to costing, luckily that's one of the things you can leave out.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great. And so if somebody watching wanted to learn more about the hardware or get connected with a supplier, what's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, that's another great question. So we primarily we focus on the distribution chain. We do go through OEMs as well, or sell directly to OEMs. But the best way, you can look on our website at hettich.com, and there on the main page you'll see locations where you can type in where you're from, your state that you're in, and all that kind of good stuff, and you'll be able to, it'll populate some of the local or area distributors that you can then speak with them about it.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Well, I think, guys, that'll about wrap it up for today. Thank you both for being here and for reviewing how it works in Toolbox and letting us know all about how the hardware works. So let me get my screen shared over here again. All right.
If anyone else wants to find out more information, they can definitely contact us. Other than just the Hettich.com, we have the info@HettichAmerica.net. So if they have any further questions, we'll definitely like to field them.
Okay, great. Yep, thanks for sharing that. All right, so what did you think? Let us know what you thought about today's presentation there in the survey we just launched. And if you want to hear from us, maybe to learn about how you can get started with adding your own hardware, maybe even how you can get this new hardware system from Hettich for your library, just let us know. Remember, this expansion that we just previewed today is free to all users with an active maintenance subscription, so definitely a great benefit for you there. Before we sign off today, I wanted to remind you of another live session happening next week. We're going to be talking with Hugh and Will from Cumming Brothers over in Melbourne, Australia. We're going to learn about their transformation from a non-automated shop with little to no software to a fully automated CNC-driven shop powered by Microvellum. We're going to talk about their transition from that over the course of the year. All that happened within about a year's time. We'll hear their story and have a chat and also see a demonstration from Matt Davies, one of our account managers over there in Australia. And he's going to be highlighting some of the key areas that's driving their success. And one of those areas happens to be what Lenny previewed there for you there at the end with the project costing. So we're going to get into a little bit of that. We'll also see their integration with the Leica laser system and how they've been using that in conjunction with their Microvellum software. So lots of good things happening next week in that one. So join us there. Hope you can join us. It'll be happening Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time if you're here in North America time zones. But if you're in Australia, that'll be Thursday, 9 a.m. Australia Eastern time. So hopefully you can make it. Registration is open. You can go to microvellum.com/live to register for that one. So once again, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thank you both, Lenny and Waylon, for being here. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Waylon. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Lenny.
So hopefully you guys have learned something new, something that you can use to continue to streamline the way you work. And we will catch you again next week for another Microvellum live session.